This is Popular Front, a podcast focused on the niche details of modern warfare and underreported conflict with me, Jake Hanrahan. Today we're speaking to Refaat Alareer. He is a Palestinian academic and professor in Gaza City, currently there with his children. As you'll hear in this episode, a hell of a lot of bombing is taking place right now. Warning, you will hear his children in the background screaming as Israeli bombs land just outside their house. It's very important to hear these voices. He's going to give us an idea of what it's like to be trapped there in Gaza City right now on the ground as Israel bombs the place non-stop. Support grassroots conflict journalism at patreon.com/popularfront.
Hello, Jay.
Hello, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I know communications are a little bit messy at the moment.
Yeah.
So, firstly, can you explain your situation in Gaza, where you are, what's been happening around you?
I'm currently in Gaza City, which is the most dangerous place in the world to be. We speak like I'm talking to you. I can barely speak because the Israeli tanks are getting closer and closer to where we are and where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are in the heart of Gaza City, with many people sheltering in schools and hospitals in the area. We speak about at a time when Israel has killed about 13,000 Palestinians, about 5,000 children, 2,500 women, and the numbers keep growing. We speak about around 60,000 housing units destroyed with damaged infrastructure, electricity lines, at a time when Israel is preventing fuel, food, and even water. On the humanitarian issue, people are like, there are people literally dying because they can't find medicine, can't reach the hospitals, the clinics, and people are already, like, we used 3 weeks ago, we used to ration, like extremely ration, but now we barely have food enough for the foreseeable future, a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. And it's even very dangerous to get out. 3 days ago, I tweeted, because about 10 days ago, we used to hear bullets, not sure it's going to the quadcopter, the small drones going to fire. The time I'm talking, I'll give you a hint when I just notify you. We kept hearing these, bullets like day and night, and they would terrorize us. Like, oh my God, is this Israeli, undercover already inside Gaza? Is there a collaborator marking certain sites to be bombed? And then we realized that Israel is sending these flying drones, robots, to shoot people, kill them, and terrorize them. And I could only record its sound. There's a bombing.
Jesus Christ.
That's probably 200-300 meters away. And it's everywhere. Like, wherever you are in Gaza, if the strike doesn't get you, it's a couple of 100 meters around you. So I tweeted this about the bullets, and everybody went, ballistic. Like, oh my God, this is futuristic, this is end of time, and this is going to be in European capitals and America soon, to use drones, to technology, to just shoot people and terrorize them. Just today, where I'm sheltering now, I wanted to move my car from one just place to 20 meters, so it's closer to the gate, so we can run away, or drive and run away if the things approach our direction. But I couldn't, because the many quadcopters kept shooting randomly around us, and sometimes we hear the bullets strike the walls. So that's what's happening. It's genocide, and this is what genocide scholars are saying: textbook case of genocide, ethnic cleansing of Palestinian natives.
Yeah, and you're there with your family?
Yeah, I am with my family, and there are many people. There are a couple of schools here where many people are sheltering. It's very difficult because we are also abandoned by the UN. We depend on some charitable people who are also finding it difficult to bring sometimes, food and water to drink.
How are you able to feed your children, get them water? Is there any ways, like, how are you managing to do that at all?
So far, we have people sending water tank because normally Gaza water has been polluted for like a couple of decades. We don't drink water. We use it just only for washing, for laundry, etc. But we buy our own water. We buy it from like street vendors. People come with trucks and lorries, and they pump water. We buy with jerry cans and bottles. So so far, until this morning, we had a truck come to the gate where we are, and we filled like 3 or 4 jerry cans. I'm not sure how many liters each one has. Probably could last for 3 or 4 days. I'm not sure because the bakeries have always all been bombed, and the one that wasn't bombed, Israel threatened the man, if you don't close, we're going to bomb you. So we haven't had bread for like more than a week. And we don't know how long this water man is going to be able to venture, and, jeopardize himself and his truck and his business to give water. And what's difficult, and that's the most difficult question people usually ask, like, I can eat one date and I could last the whole day. I personally, that's not, and I'm an old man. I'm 44. I can, I can take it. Like I can eat one date for like 15 hours, and it's okay. I'm fine. I already lost 6 kilograms or 5 kilograms personally. But how would you tell the kids?
Yeah.
And I said this to the Electronic Intifada guys, and I don't know, like this is the time when we should be huddling with the kids, telling them I love you, I care about you, don't worry, etc. But most of the time I'm telling them drink less, eat less, and it's usually very painful when I think of what if this is the last thing I say to them, the last thing they hear from me, a father telling their kid, why are you drinking this much? Why are you eating this much? And I'm a university lecturer, an assistant professor, and I have enough money. I'm well off. I can afford everything. They have been, my children are accustomed to getting everything they want, they desire, they ask for. And now, with the shops closed, with the supermarkets and the shelves, emptying, it's a war by starvation. And this the other day on Twitter, this is a pure European, pure British kind of weapon. In my classes, when I teach Jonathan Swift, or this proposal, Gulliver's Travels, I would talk about the Irish.
Exactly. The potato famine.
And I'd be like, oh my God, furious telling my students, how would this out? Like, it's just like 170 years ago, and people starved, millions of people starved, and more were displaced. And then later on, when I read on this, I realized that there was the Bengal famine that happened in the 40s. And people, millions of them starved and died. And this is happening here in Gaza. And I can see it in the people's faces. They are thinning down. There is complete terror. There's also people not eating probably 10% of what they should be eating.
I know it's very hard to talk about, but I think people really need to understand how is this affecting your children? There's constant bombing. We heard one like 5 minutes ago. How is this affecting your children?
It's sometimes we lie to ourselves that we get used to it. We don't. We just get used to the sound. When every time Israel starts a campaign of mowing the lawn, the grass that needs to be mowed, and like for 3 days, nobody barely sleeps because of how horrific the bombings are. But later on, the kids can sometimes sleep at night, sometimes interrupted by very nearby explosions. But there's always fear. You can see they barely play. They barely, And like they lose their sense of childhood. They're no longer the naughty kids you want them to be. Sometimes they can be a little bit violent, sorting things. Like even well-behaving kids would be more violent towards others. I have 6 kids. Like 2 of them are like 7 and 11, but I have others around me, relatives and in-laws. And the kids are paying the heaviest price for this Netanyahu's genocide, this Israeli genocide in Gaza.
How often is the bombing at the moment?
So I just heard, talking about the kids, about 3 or 4 shells in the distance, probably.
Wow.
There's 2 more, 1 more. So this is constant. The drone is 24/7. The quadcopter comes every hour, every couple of hours, and shoots. It's non-stop. And sometimes we say, oh wow, today was rather calm. And then in somewhere 2 miles, 3 miles, 2 kilometers away, it's another hell on earth. But we can't hear it because sometimes, I don't know, we're distracted or because of the drones. And I think I read piece of breaking news that there were 30-something massacres today so far, and it's not 6 p.m. Yet in Gaza.
And the Israelis say they've killed just over 60 Hamas members, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of Palestinians killed. So that's a very, very small percentage of actual militants that they want to kill. What does it feel like to you being there? Do you feel like, there's Hamas here and they're having a battle, or does it just feel like indiscriminate?
It is completely indiscriminate. When we speak about more than 90% of people killed at night in their sleep, in their homes, this is completely indiscriminate, but at the same time systematic. Systematic in the sense Israel wants to punish. And we keep hearing this question again, civilians, why don't they evacuate, human shields, and etc. These are complete and utter Israeli propaganda talking points, and they aim to dehumanize Palestinians. Israelis have always been this genocidal to us, and we have experienced it. I grew in the first Intifada, and I saw Jewish settlers shoot little kids just because they happen to be passing somewhere or because they throw us a small stone, etc.
It's happening in the West Bank right now again.
We speak about 170 people, about 50 of them children in the West Bank. So when you speak about people killed, massacred in their sleep, about 90% of them in their sleep, in a society where about 50% are kids, this is deliberate, this is systematic. And Israelis for the first time are openly saying that every and each one, there was somebody talking to the CNN saying that 99% of people in Gaza support Hamas and they deserve this. Everybody even saying that children deserve this. There are no civilians in Gaza. These are babies by Israeli politicians. And then others say this is the Dresden policy that killed hundreds of thousands in Germany during the Second World War, talking about killing tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. And then when you kill about 15,000 Palestinians, mostly kids, mostly women, mostly civilian men and elderly people. When you kill this, you say, oh no, the numbers are not accurate. Oh, we didn't mean this. You
okay?
Yeah, hopefully 2 more huge bombs. So these are, in my opinion, it's, again, according to Israelis, this is a systematic. A month ago, they were talking about driving us to the Sinai, pushing all Palestinians in Gaza to the Sinai. This is ethnic cleansing and genocide.
How do you feel about that when people say, "Oh well, everyone in Gaza supports Hamas; they deserve to die"? As a Palestinian living there in Gaza City right now, those kind of people are basically saying you and your children support Hamas and therefore you deserve to die. How do you feel about that?
It's dehumanizing. Whether I support Hamas or not, this is dehumanizing. Like Alan Dershowitz was saying that even the children kind of deserve it. There are no civilians in Gaza. Claiming that were not even born when Hamas was elected. Like, this is Alan Dershowitz. He's a professor at Harvard. There is a bullet. Not sure if you heard this. Just one single bullet. It's dehumanizing, but we have been accustomed to this as Palestinians. Just today, Israel, by the way, killed about 100 UN workers, killed systematically. Many doctors, many of them I know teach at the Islamic University where I teach, bombed them and killed 40 journalists. And yesterday and today, Israelis are systematically, and politicians, they're posting articles that these journalists knew ahead that Hamas was planning an attack. This is completely, of course, false, fabrication. Just number one, to justify killing these 40 journalists and also killing their families. In many cases, Israel killed the journalists' families. And in many cases, like Walid Dahdour, he survived. You know why he survived? Because he doesn't go home. His life is now in his office. So in my understanding, estimation, they waited for him to go home, but he didn't go home, and then they killed his family members. So Israel is targeting everybody: doctors, first responders, journalists, paramedics, doctors, UN workers, Red Crescent ambulances, and it's doing this also in the West Bank. It's not only about Gaza. Israel has been doing this for decades. It's not just since October the 7th. So this is, again, this is what happens in genocide. They need to control the narrative and spread false narratives and dehumanizing discourse. So when we are dead, nobody cares about us.
It's been extremely disturbing for me as a human, of course, but also as a journalist, to see even the normal mainstream legacy news kind of just shrug off the fact that dozens of journalists are being targeted and killed over there. And it's just like, it's very weird to see, even from my Western perspective, to see the news just kind of shrugging that off. A journalist had his whole family killed and targeted, and it didn't really make that much news. You know, it's just, I don't even understand it. It's very strange. From your perspective, what is it you want people to know out there? You know, we have a lot of listeners, and I really want to get your point of view across. Like, what do you want people to know?
I want people to know that the media class and the political class are in this together. I've been interviewed by the BBC and others, and they almost never push back against literal Nazi discourse and genocidal discourse. They never. The Israeli president was saying something about, in essence, it means that that nobody is innocent in Gaza. And he was interviewed for like, I don't know, an hour or 30 minutes by Piers Morgan. And Piers Morgan never quoted this. If I say something, they could bring a tweet I said probably a decade ago, just to blame me, to demonize me as a Palestinian. But Israelis could openly, live on TV, call for this. And the journalists never do this. And many of the lies, Israel, and I keep saying this, Israel is built on two things: a pile of massacres and a pile of lies and fabrications. And the Western mainstream media outlets have participated actively, sometimes even exaggerating the lies about the 40 decapitated babies, about the fake rapes, about the other story, the baby in the oven. These are completely, even some of them were rejected by the Israeli occupation army itself. But this is how far we have come. When you look, at the end of Animal Farm, where you look from man to pig and from pig to man, and you see no difference at all. This is the same. You look from an Israeli officer, army officer, to an American politician, for example. Even some, supposedly.
That sounds very close.
It's been like this this is close. Even some supposedly like Labour Party, Lamy and Keir Starmer, like, what the hell are, and many others, like, listen, I don't want you to condemn Israel. I don't want you to say ceasefire, whatever. Can't you say that preventing water and food is wrong? It's a war crime, or can be, like, say something. So we look from one American politician, one British politician, one German politician, to Israeli army officer, from one Israeli officer to, the anchors. I don't want to name names, but the BBC and CNN and etc. And you see no difference. And sometimes they are worse. But this is, again, what happens if many people say, how did people allow the Nakba in 1948? Or how did the people allow the Holocaust? It's easy. But in this time, everything is being broadcast live. Everything. You can see how the homes, the whole blocks, everything. And one Israeli officer said, we're not aiming for precision. We're aiming for damage and destruction. And by the way, they have done this for decades. Mm-hmm. And we've seen this. We've been shouting. One last point I want to say, that these Palestinian journalists on the ground, they've been doing an amazing job. Without them, these Western journalists are nothing. They put themselves in harm's way, and they get paid peanuts. They send pictures, they send videos, they send, stories and pictures and features. And then they are demonized and killed. And sometimes for a tweet, somebody liking, we've seen people getting fired because 10 years ago, he tweeted something. And would you blame, there is this amazing Jewish, I keep forgetting his name, Jewish cartoonist, Eli Valley.
Yeah, he's great, yeah.
He has this amazing cartoon from 2021 where Israel is committing genocide. And then one Palestinian saying, these are pigs. And then everybody is attacking this. Why are you, using this word pig? And he's like, it's like saying pig, tweeting something mean about Israelis or Israel is probably more horrible than the genocide Israel is committing. I think the media is complicit. And I love the expression somebody tweeted, the political and media class. They are in this together.
Well, yeah, it's a very weird thing for me to watch the news and read and see that, thousands of children have been killed. And then people are like, yeah, but what about Hamas? Like, yeah, no one is saying, wow, Hamas is great, but what about it's like very weird to see that amount of civilian killing constantly shrugged off to say, yeah, but what about Hamas? It's very odd. Like, it's like the humanity has gone out of this situation. I don't know how people can see these videos of terrified, dead kids and then say, well, they shouldn't be there, or, they shouldn't do this. It's just like, I don't know. It's a very weird thing to see from my perspective. For you living there, obviously there's a lot of people around you. Do you guys have any kind of plan? Like, I know the Israelis say, just leave. Obviously, you cannot just leave. What's the plan?
That's a very good question, but I'll start with the leaving part. The leaving part is a trick. Number one, Israel killed many people on their way leaving. Just today, they shot down a 75-year-old guy leaving from Gaza to the south. Just shot him, not sure, sniper or how they got him. And before this, many people were killed. Probably you see there was a massacre on the Rashid Street.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the first day, Israel bombed a truck loaded with evacuees. That's one. Number two, about 50% of people killed were killed in these areas that are supposed to be relatively safe, in the middle area, in the south. And some of those people, my relatives, they left the very north of Gaza Strip to the very south, to the border with Egypt, Rafah, and they were killed, 5 of them. A father, and 4 of his kids. And that's what leaving means. But the most serious, dangerous thing that always requires a Gaza context is the fact that Israel wants people to gather in tiny spaces. So one bomb can kill 40, not 10. If you're following the massacres, like 40 people, 50 people, sometimes 200 people killed in one missile. Why? Because people, like at one time, my home was bombed. The building where I live was bombed. And there were 30 people in my flat. We escaped with a miracle. But sadly, my neighbor and 2 of her daughters who were preparing dinner couldn't survive. They were killed instantly. And my ceiling cracked. and some blocks fell down. We escaped with a miracle. If it happened that like the missile went a little bit, just one floor down, it could have killed 30 people instantly. So this leaving is a lie, and it's a fabrication, and people get killed constantly. The plan, we don't have a plan. Honestly, sometimes 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, we used to plan day by day. I go out, we buy bread and say, okay, we'll see what to do tomorrow. But today, every minute is I haven't gotten out for 2-3 days. What happens if the food runs out, for example? So, and before this, when I used to go out, I say, okay, should I go left or right? Should I go this way or this shop or that shop, this bakery or that bakery? And honestly, at least, and this happens to almost everybody in Gaza, there are at least 5 places where I have been, for example, before, 2 days before, 2 hours before, a week before, and then something like Israel bombed this very place. So it could have been me, but it happens that other people get killed, and this happens to everybody.
I don't even know what to say. It's just luck that you weren't hit. We've heard several bombings literally in the 20 minutes we've been speaking. I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say. Like you said, where can you go? What can you do? Do you hear any information from your side, Palestinian? I mean, I guess there is no real authority right now, but what do you get told? What are people saying there?
We personally, from what I hear, my own estimation, that it's a matter of time until Israel gets to the heart of Gaza City. Probably a couple of days, a week. And everybody's talking about an imminent humanitarian truce. I'm not sure it's going to happen because, you see, the bombing stopped for probably 10 minutes, but now I can smell a gulp, the gunpowder and the dust. You can't close the windows because you don't want them to shatter. So there's always this non-stop bombardment, continuous. What I see is that Israel is going to control at least parts of Gaza, if not in a couple of days, probably in a week. And then what's going to happen? There are, in the area Israel is marching towards, there are at least 100 Palestinians. Not sure how many of them are going to leave, for example. It's going to be bloodshed even worse than we have seen before. We estimate we don't see hope, we don't see light. It's bleak, it's dark. Israel could kill 20,000 people in a couple of days, and nobody is going to care. And the propaganda is ready. Israeli cartoonish, they're going to post cartoonish videos like the Israeli. Just now we caught what's his name? We caught him red-handed. Netanyahu's what's his name? Ofer Gendelman. Mm-hmm. He is Israeli Prime Minister spokesman to the Arab. We catch him every couple of days posting video. Oh, thank you. Community notes. So there's a community. He posted a video of Palestinians faking injury. The video is a backstage of the short film, The Reality, shot in by Lebanese actors to support the population of Gaza. He's posting this, saying that Palestinians are faking injuries, and it's just we catch these videos every day, many of them. But sadly, the lie is out, and this video is going to be posted again and again by Israeli troops. So with this Israeli barbarity, Western complicity, what we're seeing as Palestinians is dark. Not sure I'll be I don't like to tweet this very often, but many people do this on Twitter. This could be my last tweet. Any tweet could be my last tweet. Any day could be my last day. And this is the sense we have: a sense of doom, a sense of death. Hopefully, it's not going to come to even in our dreams, the nightmares we see constantly, and they talk about us. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
No, it really is, and I hope to God it's not your last day, not your last tweet, whatever. But I understand the situation, and it just sounds very bleak. Is there any hope? How are you guys managing to just keep every day going? I know there's not really hope in terms of Israel stopping, but day to day, how do you cope? How do you people kind of keep together and keep your heads up?
People keep asking me this question: what's going on? What is it on the news? and because they see me talking English and they know I speak to the media. And the first 2 weeks I was like, oh, it's dark, it's really difficult. But when we started seeing people going out to the street, taking to the street in hundreds of thousands of people in DC, in London, around the world, in Europe, and some people starting to move in the Congress. There are probably 10 or 12 people. Interestingly, all people of color calling for a ceasefire. I think despite this Israeli propaganda, despite the lies and the fabrications and the demonization and dehumanization, more and more every day I see people on Twitter, social media, on TikTok saying that, oh my God, what's going on? We've been lied to. Some of those people are former Zionists and Jewish people who were brought up to be Zionists, to like Israel and to hate Palestine. So there is this movement that we hope before it's too late they can exert pressure. But pressure in the sense that if you are a politician, you will be punished because you will lose my vote, like Biden. And I keep saying this. I think Netanyahu has several objectives. One, to destroy Gaza. It's not about Hamas. He's going to destroy Gaza. Two, to save his own arse. He wants, to remain as long as possible a prime minister, to celebrate a particular victory. And three, I think, because he keeps, going on, genociding Palestinians, and then many people in America, and they are already saying this, many online saying, I'm not going to vote for Biden. This is going to cost Biden very important states, like, for example, Michigan, not sure other states, the presence of Arabs and Muslims and other decent people. And then Netanyahu can have his buddy back, his friend Trump back. So if Biden, that's why the tiny move.
Fortunately, the comms have just gone down. Hello?
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Where you lost me, but just to say the last line and then stop there. Like the Labour Party is preparing itself to win the next general election, and they've never been this hopeful. If they realize that they're going to be punished, they're going to lose Muslim votes, Arab votes, Palestinian votes, and all those leftist votes and decent people, because their position is worse than that of the Tories, I think there could be some pressure, but I hope it's not going to be, too late. And I was saying that it's really surreal, uncanny when somebody like a right-wing person like Candace Owen has a better position opposing genocide.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders not.
It's been very surreal to see, yeah. I'll let you go there, bro, because obviously the comms are going up and down. But is there anything else you want to say just as we leave?
Thank you very much. There are usually two messages here, very briefly. Number one, please take to the streets, do something, read about Palestine, take to the street, pressure your politicians, call them, urge them to end this genocide, call for a ceasefire and into the aggression and hopefully the blockade. Number two, read about Palestine and reach out to Palestinians. They are everywhere on social media. Follow them and learn from them directly without having to go through social mainstream media or Israeli propaganda. And these are my messages, Jake.
All right, mate. Thank you very much. If there's any way we can somehow help, just get in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you want to follow Refaat Alareer on social media, you can do so on Instagram at REFAAT17 or on Twitter at iTranslate123. That was the Popular Front podcast. If you want more exclusive bonus episodes, extra video content, access to the Popular Front network, subscribe to patreon.com/popularfront. We're entirely independent and grassroots. Nobody owns us. Patreon keeps us going, as does our merchandise. You can get Popular Front apparel and accessories at popularfront.shop. You can also buy our various publications there, like the Popular Front magazine. We're censored on social media and streaming platforms, so please follow us and share our content. Watch our documentaries at youtube.com/popularfront. Follow us on Instagram at popular.front, Twitter at popularfront_. And for uncensored updates on the world at war, follow our Telegram at popularxfront. If you want to keep track of my other work, it's the same on all socials at Jake_Hanrahan. That's HANRAHAN. You can find all these links and more at popularfront.cc. The music in this episode was produced by Sam Black. Check him out at samblackpf.com or search Sam Black PF on Spotify. The intro music though is by Home. Sound mix by Splicing Block. Thank you to the Patreons on the credit tier. They are Onofrio Modongno, Thomas Sadowski, Pengu, Jessica, Peter Cherry, Lupe Calderon-Garnica, Thomas Giuseppe, Jake Fuentes, Viola Forvel, Christian Bustamante, Daniel Verdin, Margosha, Rohan Irvin, Ryan Barbadillo, VS, Brian R, Justin, Evan Pank, Bradley Hope, Wizard Actual, Benjamin Tupper, Chongus Bongwater, Siddhartha O, Damien, Cameron Collins, Scott Turnbull, Matthew Diffley, Claire, Liana, Robert, Sean, Kuzinar 8, Christianovich, NTHG, Ethan Schvick, Peter Nybratton, Gabriel K, AG Barcelona, David McManus, Tom Petrie, James Leons, Bradley Davies, No Dogs No Hamsters, Brendan Crave, B, Dallas Dunn, LD50 Seattle, Adam H, B Rambo, Larson 8669, Ivan Julien, Diamondstein, Michael O'Connor, Nicholas Butter, JD, James Karpinski, Jav, James Cully, Ethan, Fitz Madrid, Ed Coulthard, D San, Mike Barone, Liam Williams, DZA, Giorgio Arani, Vegan Straight Edge, Amy R, Rubicon, Frank Austin, Amelia Me, Michael Neck, Freya Northman, Noah, Andrew Hurley, Vida Provost, Bike Lane Bowser, Brian McLaughlin, Tom Lochrin, Young Wasabi, Tony L, JL, Stephen Davila, Chad Walker, What Bitcoin Did with Peter McCormick, Christopher Martin, Ryan Sandercock, and Moritz Zumbel. Thank you all so much. Support Popular Front at patreon.com/popularfront.